Okay, so here's another one. Let's just pick something here.
Has paved the road to brainwash you any way they see fit. There is only one enemy, the friendly people you pay your taxes to, the war makers and nature destroyers. With your funding, they are killing the world right in front of your eyes. 500,000 deaths each year are caused by tobacco. 500,000 deaths each year are
Well, I'm a
caused by
smoker,
alcohol.
so
No one has ever died from smoking pot. In the entire history of the human race, not one death can be attributed to cannabis. Our society has outlawed grass but condones the use of the killers, tobacco, and alcohol. Hemp should be declassified and placed in drugstores to relieve stress. Hardening and constriction of the arteries are bad, but hemp usage actually enlarges the arteries, which is a healthy condition. We have been so conditioned to think that smoking is harmful. That is not the case for passive pot. Ingesting THC, hemp's active agent, has a positive effect, relieving asthma and glaucoma. A joint tends to alleviate the nausea caused by chemotherapy. You are able to eat on hemp. This is a healthy state of being. The stereotype for a pothead is similar to a drunk, bubble brain. Yet the truth is one's creative abilities can be enhanced under its influence. The perception of time slightly slows and one can become more sensitive. You can more appreciate all arts, be closer to nature, and generally feel more under the influence of cannabis. It is, in fact, the exact opposite state of mind and body as the drunken state. You can be more aware with pot. The pot plant is an alien plant. There is physical evidence that cannabis is not like any other plant on this planet. One could conclude that it was brought here for the benefit of humanity. Hemp is the only plant where the males appear one way and the females appear very different, physically. No one ever speaks of males and females in regard to the plant kingdom because plants do not show their sexes, except for cannabis. To determine what sex a certain normal earthly plant is, you have to look internally at its DNA. A male blade of grass physically looks exactly like a female blade of grass. The hemp plant has an intense sexuality. Growers know to kill the males before they fertilize the females. Yes, folks, the most potent pot comes from horny females. The reason this amazing, very sophisticated extraterrestrial plant from the future is illegal has nothing to do with how it physically affects us. Pot is illegal because billionaires want to remain billionaires. P.S. I think the word drug should not be used as an umbrella word that covers all chemical agents. Drugs have come to be known as something bad. Are you aware there are legal drugstores? Yep, in every city. Unbelievable. Each so-called drugstore should be considered individually. Cannabis is a medicine and not a drug. We should dare to speak the truth, no matter what the law is. Now, I have to say, that was a very, very interesting and informative article. Of course, now we no longer have medical marijuana being given out to sick patients due to the recent Supreme Court ruling, which is in itself, of course, horseshit. They would rather have these people get blasted with radiation than just to sit down and puff on a joint. And of course, that's all engineered to be that way so they can put these chemotherapy patients back onto the cancer drugs and just keep them in a cycle of pill popping for the rest of their life. But we all know that, don't we, folks? That'll wrap up this segment.
Nuclear power plant. Nuclear power plant. Nuclear power plant.
It's kind of one of those exaggerations.
Nuclear power plant. Nuclear ambitions. We cannot let terrorists and rogue nations hold this nation hostile or hold our allies hostile.
Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain.
Censorship blocks the expression of good ideas and inhibits the scrutiny of bad ones. It retards civilization. Our modern Western civilization
Isn't that what I've been
is an
saying with
icon
the downsizing of our pages? It's going to retard us into a jail cell so that we can't use our critical thinking skills, and we're going to receive biased information that's manipulated by a computer, which is programmed by some human being that works for another entity that lists itself as a corporation on the benefit of humanity.
Constructed for the protection of copyrighted material, the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, or DMCA.
How long is this? 10 minutes and 46 seconds. I don't think we can listen to this whole
censor those
thing
critical of their
because
beliefs.
I'm already at almost 6 minutes now.
Over the last
5.5
year or
minutes
so,
here.
at least 5 creationist organizations and individuals
take
have
the
filed
name of
multiple
If you want to
baseless
come back and see
DMCAs
it, you can.
against work critical of them.
We'll listen to it
All
for
of
a
those
while.
that were
We'll just go through the
opposed were
playlist here a
won by
little bit.
individuals who recognized the danger posed by allowing such abuse. The offending creationist organizations and individuals include Creation Science Evangelism, founded of course by the convicted fraudster Kent Hovind; Illustria Media, a subsidiary of the Discovery Institute, that's the creationist organization at the core of the intelligent design movement; Answers in Genesis and their frontman Ken Ham; Venom Fang X, of course, who filed over 150 DMCAs; and Eternal Media, among others. In response to this, we have formed a now multinational alliance. We have formed this alliance as a defense mechanism against the abuse of the DMCA. We have now pooled our legal knowledge, and it should be borne in mind that even as individuals, we were hammering these creationists on every baseless DMCA they filed. Secondly, we have decided to immediately name and shame any creationist organization who files a baseless DMCA claim. If you try filing a baseless DMCA claim, it is likely, given that we have maybe 100,000 subscribers between us, that maybe 1 million people will know about it within a week. Finally, it should be stated that every time you file and lose a DMCA claim, you just bring that time one day closer when one of you will end up in front of a judge for this. We defend reason, we defend Western values, and we defend freedom of speech from those who would limit it for dogmatic reasons. And now, due to this pattern of creationist behavior, we do it as one. The following is a message from a few of our number.
Particular organisations and individuals appear to have demonstrated a track record of misusing DMCAs to censor comment and criticism. Even if you receive legal advice that you are likely to be protected under the fair use provisions, the idea of fighting a DMCA is not simply a legal issue. It's a commitment to stick it out against these organisations and their underhanded tactics to avoid criticism of their misinformation. After all, you have to hand over to them your personal details when you lodge the counterclaim. When I made that decision to stand up and fight against this misuse of DMCAs, I found that I was not alone. I'm not sure if we realise the potential we all have as a collective. I'm not sure if we realise that a collective action on all our parts is far more powerful than the sum of all our individual actions. The time for tolerating this misuse is at an end. Please feature, favourite and share this video in addition to the copies on our other channels.
I grew up in a pre-internet world where anytime you got into a discussion on any topic, whether it was history, science, religion, matters of social politics and scandal, whatever the subject was, whoever you were talking to might pull up whatever urban legend was necessary to back up his story at the time. There was no way on the fly to figure out what information was actually factual and what was just made up on the spot, statistic-wise. The only way you could find out was if you went to the library all day, and perhaps not even then. So you had to give him the benefit of the doubt, especially if they seem morally outraged by whatever fact they just coughed up. Back then, propaganda and emotional arguments with made-up statistics on the spot usually won. These are the people who want to bridle internet information, the free expression of ideas, and prohibit or limit their spread through the general public. Controlling information and suppressing ideas is the means to manipulate the minds of the masses. But ethnocentric bigotry and religious and nationalist propaganda collapse in an unrestricted global forum. That's why some would seek to silence, censor, restrict, and restrain contrary comments, while we need to preserve and promote your right to say whatever you want, whoever you are, and no matter how wrong I can show you to be.
Hi, this is Andromeda's Wake. My subscribers and regular viewers know that I freely allow any and all comments, ratings and responses on my channel. And this is because I believe the only way to settle a debate is to allow everyone the right to speak. After all, when debate is genuinely free, the truth will always win. But there are those out there who seek to silence the opinions of others because their agenda is threatened by rational inquiry. That they refuse to acknowledge criticism is bad enough, but their rampant misuse of the DMCA to extend their branch of censorship directly to the YouTube accounts of those who refute them is completely unacceptable. Sadly, because of these actions, free speech must be continually fought for. I urge you to oppose DMCA abuse and stand up for free speech on YouTube.
Hi, this is Potholer54. If any of you have visited my channel, you'll know it's completely open for debate. Ratings haven't been disabled, comments aren't screened. Anyone can post anything, good or bad, critical or supportive.
And mine is the same
way.
way.
And that's what I love about YouTube. It's a worldwide open forum that has the potential to change minds across the world and present new opinions to people who've been cloistered in narrow-minded communities and repressive regimes. At least that's how it's supposed to work. And that's why I'm standing against the false filing of DMCAs and urging YouTube to take action against people who want to shut down channels and videos that challenge their beliefs. I have no objection to the legitimate protection of copyright, but this is an issue of fair use for the purpose of academic debate. In several cases, especially those related to creationist preacher Kent Hovind, Hovind himself specifically says that his videos are not copyrighted. But when some YouTubers used clips of his material in order to refute Hovind, they were shut down because of false claims of breach of copyright. Let's get this straight. This kind of action has nothing to do with the protection of copyrighted material. It's a tactic designed purely and simply to shut up dissent, to silence critics and stamp on freedom of speech. If this is allowed to continue, then YouTube will eventually become just a boring mouthpiece of organizations.
Doesn't that look familiar?
And shut down critics.
There you go.
This is your medium, people.
I'm the last person on the block here. See, there's my page. So that's where we're going.
This is Peter Omega, and I'm stating my support for the campaign against the abuse of the DMCA. Censorship is basically when you silence people who are critical of your opinions. The only time when censorship works is when you are infallible. Do you know anyone who's infallible? Fight DMCA abuse. Fight censorship. This is your YouTube. Stand up for it.
Look at the date. Right.
This is Don Exodus. Censorship is a tool used by simple minds to mislead and misinform. If the facts and reason aren't on your side, it's very easy to win a debate if there's nobody to debate against. Please, oppose censorship in all its forms, whether it's the false filing of DMCA copyright claims, or simply deleting or disapproving of comments that disagree with your videos.
Hold on a minute.